What was the very first thought that entered your mind this morning? Before the coffee, before the shower, before the conscious mind fully came online. Was it a feeling of peace? Or was it the familiar heavy weight of your to-do list? Was it the memory of an argument from the night before? The dread of a difficult meeting? A quiet anxiety about the bills, the future, the state of the world? For most of us, if we are being truly honest, our default setting is not one of joy. Our brains, forged over millennia of survival, are exquisite problem-finding machines. They are constantly scanning the horizon, not for beauty, but for threats. Not for what we have, but for what we lack. Not for what is right, but for what is wrong. This internal monologue becomes the soundtrack to our lives. A low-grade fever of dissatisfaction. A constant hum of complaint that we barely even notice anymore. The traffic is terrible. The coffee is cold. Our boss is demanding. Our partner is annoying. The news is depressing. We live in a state of perpetual low-level opposition to reality itself. We believe that happiness is something that will arrive later, after we get the promotion, after we lose the weight, after we go on vacation, after all our problems are magically solved. We are experts in deferred living, professional waiters in the grand departure lounge of life, always waiting for a journey that never quite begins. But what if this is a profound and tragic mistake? What if happiness isn't a destination, but a radically different way of seeing? The ancient Stoics believed this. They saw gratitude not as a polite thank you after receiving a gift, but as a powerful, transformative tool of the mind. They saw it as an act of rebellion against our own neurology, a secret weapon that could rewire our perception of reality. They understood that gratitude is not a response to a perfect life, but the very means by which a life becomes joyful, resilient, and profound, regardless of its circumstances. Today, we will not just talk about gratitude. We will learn to wield it as the shield, the lens, and the compass that it was always meant to be. Be grateful. We must do everything to make our gratitude greater, for it is our own good, just like justice, which, although in common opinion it extends to others, for the most part returns to us. Seneca. Here lies the great paradox of gratitude, the secret that Seneca wanted us to understand. We think of it as an act of giving, a gift we bestow upon another person for their kindness or generosity. But in reality, it is one of the most profoundly self-beneficial acts we can perform. Like justice, it appears to flow outward, but its greatest and most transformative power flows back inward, to the one who feels it. When we experience genuine gratitude, our brain chemistry changes. It releases dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters of well-being, while reducing the stress hormone cortisol. It is quite literally a form of mental and emotional hygiene. To practice gratitude is not just to be polite. It is to actively cleanse your mind of the toxins of envy, resentment, and dissatisfaction. It is to choose health over sickness, clarity over confusion, and peace over inner turmoil. So, how do we begin this practice? We start by opening our eyes. We must conduct a radical audit of our existence, looking not for what is missing, but for what is present. Think right now about the simple fact of your own aliveness. Consider your heart, a tireless muscle beating over 100,000 times a day, a rhythm that has accompanied you since before your birth. a drummer for your life's song that you never have to ask to play. Think of your lungs, drawing in the air of the world, a silent, constant exchange that connects you to every other living thing on this planet. You are alive in a world that is, for the most part, at peace. You have health, even if imperfect. You have the freedom and the time to engage with these ideas. These are not small things. These are miracles of cosmic proportion that we have learned to treat as mundane. But let's zoom in from the cosmic to the particular. What about the tiny, fleeting moments of grace that pepper our everyday? The smile you received from a stranger on the street, a moment of unprompted human connection. The person ahead of you who held the door, a small act of courtesy that made your path a little easier. The moment your favorite song unexpectedly came on the radio, a perfect soundtrack for an ordinary drive. Or simply the feeling of the sun on your skin, the taste of your morning coffee, the comfort of a warm bed on a cold night. Our lives are overflowing with these small riches, but our problem-finding minds are trained to ignore them, to dismiss them as insignificant while we hunt for the next thing to worry about. Gratitude is the discipline of noticing. It is the training of our attention to see the wealth that is already ours. And now for the ultimate test. Let's engage in a thought experiment the Stoics were famous for. Imagine that today was your last day on Earth. Imagine you knew with absolute certainty that in a few short hours, everything would end. What would happen to your anxieties? The petty grudge you hold against a colleague, the worry about next month's bills, the anger at the driver who cut you off in traffic. Would any of it still matter? In that final, clarifying light, all the trivialities would burn away like fog. And what would remain? Gratitude, an overwhelming, profound gratitude for the simple, stunning fact of having been here at all. Gratitude for the taste of water, for the faces of your loved ones, for the memory of a beautiful sunset, for the very sensation of breathing. This thought experiment proves that gratitude is not dependent on a long and prosperous future. It is a function of a focused and appreciative present. Finally, understand that this practice is not a solitary one. Gratitude is contagious. It radiates a light that can change the energy of a room, a relationship, a community. A genuine expression of thanks can turn a person's entire day around. A leader who shows gratitude inspires loyalty and dedication far beyond what a paycheck can buy. A partner who feels appreciated fosters love and connection. When you choose to live in a state of gratitude, you don't just transform your inner world. You become an active force for good in the world around you. You become a source of that light. So we stand at a crossroads. We can continue to let our minds run on their default programming, endlessly scanning for problems, dwelling on scarcity, and living in a state of quiet opposition to our own lives. Gratitude is that door. It is the conscious, deliberate choice to walk upstairs. It is the decision to stop being a passive victim of your own neurology and to become an active participant in the creation of your own joy. The Stoics understood that gratitude is the ultimate virtue, the foundation upon which all others are built. How can you have courage if you are not grateful for the life you are fighting to preserve? How can you have justice if you are not grateful for the community you are a part of? How can you have wisdom if you are unable to see the good that already exists right here, right now? To begin this practice is to begin a revolution. It is a quiet, internal revolution against the tyranny of complaint, envy, and despair. Costs nothing. It requires no special equipment. It is available to you in this very moment, and in every moment that follows. It begins with a single, simple choice: to look at your life not for what is missing, but for what is here. To look at your hands and be grateful they can hold. To look at your feet and be grateful they can walk. To look at the world and be grateful for the staggering, improbable miracle of being a part of it at all. This is not a denial of life's pain and hardship. It is the discovery of a light that shines even in the darkest of rooms. If you are ready to stop waiting for happiness and start creating it, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. Your journey to a more grateful, resilient, and joyful life starts with a single click. Let's learn to open the curtains and let the light in together.